Before we begin, would you be able to tell me about yourself and what you do for the De La Cruz campaign?
Sure. My name's Ben Zinevich, and I am a local organizer, largely based in DC, with the Party for Socialism and Liberation. And I'm also a spokesperson for the Claudia De La Cruz campaign.
And my first question is why run third party?
Sure. Well, we believe that we need to run in third party because, of course, the Party for Socialism and Liberation is an independent party. It's existed since 2004 on the outset of the anti-war movement against the U.S. war on Iraq. And we believe that there's not a full spectrum of democracy when it comes to the ballot box in this country, and we have to be there to be able to offer people a politics that is not just war, inflation, and climate destruction. We believe in the right to a job, the ability to raise your child and not come into debt with it, not come out of the hospital with a newborn with medical debt. We believe in key aspects of the right to a healthcare, education, housing, and we believe that we can really confront and offer these programs by an immense cut in the U.S. imperial system, including the 800 plus bases that are stationed worldwide.
And can you tell me a little bit about what specifically the De La Cruz campaign and organization, what they are doing to work on these issues you just mentioned?
Sure. So the Party for Socialism and Liberation is based in around or more than 100 localities in the United States. We have an organized presence in about 60 or so major cities, all major cities, and so we've been promoting a socialist program to voters, to everyday people, especially people who have sat out voting. In many respects, I think there's a demonization campaign from both the Republicans and Democrats that blames third-party voters, third-party candidates for handing the election to their opponent, and I'm sure we'll see that whenever uh, a victor is claimed. But we are largely engaging with people who have lost all faith in this electoral system, and people who are, usually resigned to the fact that Washington does not cater to the needs of working people, but rather favors, the wealth of defense contractors and Wall Street. So we've been doing a lot of outreach door to door. We've obviously the efforts in petitioning in Virginia and other states around the country has led to really positive conversations. And we've been actually involved in a campaign sort of semi-internally called Putting Socialism on the Map, which if you go to votesocialist2024.com, you can have there's an interactive map where you can see all the people who are essentially putting their name to a socialist vote and explaining why it appeals to them.
Yeah. Um, and continuing on with that thought, or what impact have you seen because of the De La Cruz campaign specifically?
Sure. Well, in DC, we're engaging in a writing campaign, and so a lot of what we've done involves local leafleting, wheat pasting efforts, putting up posters in asking local businesses to put up posters, and it's been very positive. I think people, many of which, of course, as I said, are not weren't going out of their way. There's a lot of disinterest, I think, among regular working people in the sort of circus that we're subjected to every 4 years. Their issues are, of course, inflation at the supermarket, costs of living, the rent, gas prices, and we're able to put a real sort of answer in the voice of our organizers um, to these issues. Of course, we believe that a major reason why gas has gone up is because there's sanctions on many large gas producing companies, and the United States creates these inflationary periods to try to subject countries that are they really have no business interfering with, but they create a sort of effect for consumers here. We've talked about canceling student debt. That's something obviously very positive. Many, I think, GMU students may have run into us on campus through the petitioning or local outreach recently. And I think our policies on liberation for Palestine, ending all U.S. aid to Israel, um, calling for the cancellation of student debt. These are all things that are very possible, but not necessarily seen as viable in the political landscape that we're sort of fenced in towards. And so I think the fact that people see physical people, like, normal people just on the street talking about these things, saying, actually, we can have it, but we have to fight for it. I think that's very inspiring to people. I'm of the generation that came about, I think, largely my political awakening through the Bernie Sanders campaign, and that was a major aspect for many people, I guess, of my age. And just the fact that someone was saying, actually, we do have a right to healthcare. Actually, you shouldn't become basically, a debt slave simply because you desire to learn. I think that these are things that sort of shock us back into reality when we're in such a sort of media and political landscape that tells us that you shouldn't want more, you shouldn't desire more, you shouldn't fight for more.
Yeah. And then you mentioned that these are normal people working on the campaign and that, these are working class people. So what struggles have you guys faced, due to the fact that you are normal people? You don't have millions of dollars, from generational wealth.
Mhm. Yeah, no, I mean we're a political party that's composed of working class people. It's composed of transit workers, teachers, like college students as well, just service workers, but bartenders, uh, table bussers. And so, we use that time that we have, which is obviously sacred, off the clock to work on this because we believe in such uh, a a cause that is in a way, the only way forward. I mean, it's really in many ways a better solution, a solution that's more equitable for working people, um, or this continued level of barbarism and just sort of austerity and greed for a handful of people. So it's been, I think, very inspiring for everybody to meet more people. There's been, I think, the campaign provides a sense of strength for many people that are going out, feeling, they could never give a speech or they could never talk to people about socialism in like Shenandoah Valley or Norfolk, where some people are wouldn't necessarily agree to the politics of a socialist, uh, assumedly, but there's a lot that people, I think, would agree with the socialist program, that no one has a right to own another person's house. The 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 military does not need near $1 trillion to continue killing poor and working people elsewhere, and then using the poor and working people at home to do the killing. And I think that many of these things seem yeah, largely popular in a way, but we have been telling people that it doesn't end at the election. We need more than just an electoral solution. We really need to fight. We've been talking, of course, about the civil rights era, in which these are periods where the Dixiecrats, the right wing, they controlled Congress from 1954 to 1964. It was the same Congress. Um, but I think what really changed between the era of Jim Crow and the Civil Rights Act was the fact that people gained consciousness politically. They felt it doesn't really matter who's in Congress. It's the fact that if we stay organized in our communities, if we're able to level real demands, that we can all agree and we can all mobilize and have a sort of people power that uh, the last few decades maybe we feel like that's just sort of a myth and it's something we hear about in history books. I think that if people have that consciousness, we can win. It's not an impossibility, but we have to work.
Yeah. And then finally, what advice do you have for college students about voting, staying educated, and fighting for their rights?
Yeah, yeah. No, I think there's not a lot that young people have to look forward to with the issues of AI, great power conflict, as they call it. I mean, it's just, the threat of nuclear war, the lack of job prospects, climate change. These are all things that present a great threat to anybody that feels like they, have a long life to live. And so I think a lot of youth are pessimistic. They're very nihilistic, which is understandably so. Um, and I think that what we have to really focus on is the fact that it doesn't have to be this way. I think that we really can fight for an alternative, and I think that if the leaders have no solutions, that we should be more than welcome to offer new ones, offer a better world. But as I said, I think that we have to fight for it. We can't just say, on election day, November 5th, we're politically engaged. On November 6th, we go back and not turn off the TV or whatever. Because, as they say, you may not be into politics, but politics is very into you. I think that's something that the Democrats really like to engage with. But when, LGBTQ rights, trans rights, um, immigrant rights, the reversal of Roe v. Wade comes to pass, they were largely absent. But people like us in the Party for Socialism and Liberation, politics is a daily struggle, and so if people are engaged in something, I think that we can really build the level of success that we saw throughout history, either the labor struggles in the 30s and 40s, the abolition struggle, the civil rights era struggle. These things can be achieved. We have to fight for them. And if you're interested in struggling with us, you can always go to pslweb.org/join, and come meet us. We're also having an election night watch party in DC. If people can make it, feel free. There's more information at PSLDC on Instagram.
Thank you so much for talking with me today.
Sure. Thank you, Mary.
Yeah.